Show of hands. Who has saved someone from death or really bad bodily harm? No one? Come on, come on. All right, Chuck, can you tell us a story? Or the event, if you can, if you can't. Better not? Okay, no problem, no problem. Okay, so I guess I have to blow my own horn here. Like my oldest son says, I'm a mediocre swimmer at best, but God blessed me with, on two separate occasions, I saved someone from drowning. So, yeah, one was in Huntington Beach, California, that this couple were really having a hard time. The waves were really strong, and they were getting hit and clobbered, and they couldn't get out. So I went and helped them. That's fine. My brothers and I, we've saved someone else. We received a letter from someone who said, if it wasn't for me having one of your products on me, I would not be alive. I was able to use your product and have, self-defense, and I defended myself using my product, and that feels very, very good. That feels very, very good. And I say all this because let me give you another example. Reynaldo Medina. I've talked to him about him before. He was a Baptist minister in Cuba. In 1965, he got arrested along with 46 other pastors, and he was sent to prison, and for the next 13 years. 13 years he was in a communist prison and different prisons in Cuba. He was very rebellious, so they put him in a prison that was a punishment prison. And in that punishment prison, they put him in a punishment cell. So he was there on a 6x8 prison cell with another person. The only toilet they had was a hole in the ground. No water to flush, nothing. The minimum amount of food was given to him that he could survive to live. Now, in an adjacent cell, there was a higher level punishment cell. At least his was 6x8, but it had a iron gate with bars so he could see outside. Some fresh air could come in, but the adjacent cell was a punishment cell with a solid steel door. So no air would come in, no sunlight would come in, nothing would come in. So they put someone in there, and they were curious and say, what's, who is in the next cell? So they got the help from children. There were actually children in that dungeon in Cuba. The youngest one was 6 years old. Through those children, they were able to get a wire, and him and his cellmate did improvised drill, so they started drilling on the wall to try to get to the next cell to see who was in there and what they were doing. The inmates on the other cell heard it, and they started digging in, so they were digging both at the same time. It took some time, so finally they got through, and what he found out, there were 9 political prisoners there, planteados. Those are people who did not wear the common criminal uniform. They refused to wear the common criminal uniforms. So they were living in their underwear all the time. They were called planteados. They were placed in there because they didn't want to wear the uniform. So they told them, we're going to put you in that cell. Either you're going to beg us to release you and you're going to put on the uniform, or you're going to starve to death in that cell. So what did they do? Medina and the other, after they drilled the hole, it was a 1-inch hole diameter, they lined it up with flattened toothpaste tubes, and they told the children to go and buy water, sugar, and crackers. And they made a mixture, and for 3 weeks, they pushed that mixture into the next cell so those people could survive. For 3 weeks, that went on for 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, the director of the prison came, and he was going to find, people, 9 people starving to death, begging him to release them. And what he found was 9 cheerful, grateful, nourished people. He was dumbfounded. He couldn't believe it. How could this happen? This and that. So finally, they let him go because the director said, how could this happen? So they let him go. And I'm giving you this example of courage and selflessness. And the time doesn't permit to go through all the details of how they did this and what was the consequences afterwards. But I ask you, has anyone saved anyone here? Because God, our Father, and Jesus Christ commands us to love one another and to sacrifice for one another and even to die for one another. Turn with me to John 13, please. In John 13, beginning in verse 34, it says, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another in the same way that I have loved you. That is how you are to love one another. By this shall everyone know that you are my disciple, if you love one another." Now turn with me to 1 John 3. In 1 John 3, beginning in verse 16, it says, "By this very act we have known that the love of God, because he laid down his life for us. And we ourselves are to lay down our lives for the brethren. But whoever has in this world's goods and see his brother in need and shuts up his feeling of compassion from him, how can the love of God be dwelling in him? My little children, we should not love in word nor in our tongues. Rather, we should love in deed and in truth." I hope and I pray that no one in this room ever has to go through the experience that Reynaldo Medina and his cellmate had to go through to help those people and the suffering that he suffered for those 13 years. But we can express our kindness and our love by the little things that we can do in our lives. Call someone. If they're sick, visit them. If they're far away, send them a postcard telling them, we're thinking of you, we're praying for you. With the technology we have today, you can, what they call that, Facebook? FaceTime, right? FaceTime or Zoom. You can Zoom around the world and talk to people and be with people and tell them, we're thinking of you. We love you. So pray. Pray for each other as God commanded. You don't know what a small act of kindness can do. A smile, a nod of your head, a hello, how you doing? Is everything all right? You don't know how that affects. Kevin Hines. He was featured in a documentary movie called The Bridge. I don't know if anyone has seen that movie here. I know my brother has, but I saw it yesterday again to refresh my memory. The Bridge is a film, it's a documentary film where these filmmakers, 24 hours a day for a whole year, they just filmed the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, California. In that time, 24 people jumped off that bridge to their death. 24. An average of one person every 15 days. And this gentleman here was one of them. Now, the difference between the other 23 and him is that he survived. He survived that fall where 98% of the people die instantly. The minute he let go of the rail, he regretted it. And he said to himself, I want to live. So he positioned himself so he would fall feet first. He completely shattered his back, his spinal cord, but he survived. And of all the things, a SEAL came and pushed him up and held him up until the Coast Guard was able to rescue him. And he took it as a sign from God that an animal, a SEAL, was propping him up. And what he said afterward was that if someone, when he was up there in the bridge, walking, contemplating that he was going to throw himself off it, and there was hundreds and hundreds of tourists there, he said if someone would have come to him and say hello, or had smiled at him, or just came and say, are you feeling well? Are you doing something? He would not have jumped. And with all those people, he still jumped. Now he does inspirational speaking where he goes and talks to at-risk people to prevent them from trying to kill themselves, from trying to commit suicide. So the next time you see someone, smile, say hello, say how you doing, because you might be saving someone's life.